You're listening to the Values and Leadership Podcast, where business leaders share their stories of purposeful impact and success.
Hello, and welcome to the Values and Leadership Podcast, the podcast for innovative leaders who want to apply new ways of doing things in work and deploy their talents and team and time to earn their legacy every day and have a purposeful impact in business and in life. I am your host, Ahmed Arif. I invite corporate owners, corporate leaders, academics, and advisors who practice participative leadership and love to share their positive life and business experiences, their sense of direction, sense of meaning, and how they challenge their thinking in growing their business and people around them to their next best stage. Today, we have a special guest, Vernon Brown. Vernon is on the side of anyone needing help and advice to find their path and start once again. He is doing that in his capacity as the CEO, president of What Is Your Happiness and Success Coach and Consultant. Welcome to the show, Vernon.
Thank you a ton for having me here. I know we had to play some scheduled gymnastics, but we made it out. So thank you.
Great. I'm very happy that I'm joining with you today, Vernon. This year is a special year for everyone, for the coaches, for the business people, for the owners, for the employees, for everyone. So I would like to know from you, right now is the time for entrepreneurs and business owners to double down during this time and not hold back. It is a fun and engaging approach to life to not look at it from what is wrong perspective, but what can we do to make it in our favor. So all of your clients, businesses have grown since the start of things back in February. What I read now was your words from your website. So I want to know, starting from this point, how did you engage with your business entrepreneurs and business owners and clients in this year?
You know, that's an excellent opening question. I think, well, not even I think, it's the way that I saw this, right? You know, some terrible and tragic things have happened. And we all know what that is. You know, I'm doing my best. You know, I just call it the reset, not to diminish it. But what happens, and I'll never forget this quote, find a gap and then fill it. And what happens is when you're looking for what's wrong and you're looking for, you know, how terrible things are, you will miss the chance. You will miss the fact that if you have an audio video company and that primarily serviced universities and colleges, and as we both know, they were shut down, and you're looking for what's wrong and what's not working, you miss out. And this is one of my clients, by the way, who realized after I kept challenging and telling him like, oh, people are dying. I'm like, hey, we need funerals. You know, people can't see their loved ones after they made their transition. But what happened there was just like, I kept challenging him and pushing him like, what is open though? What is working? And that's what you got to do. It's looking at things for, yes, it is not pretty, but what else is it? It's an opportunity, and you got to look for that, right?
So you have to be realistic. Don't try to escape from the facts. Be there, be present. It's very important to be present, correct?
Very, very, very. You know, you brought up a really good point too. A lot of us kind of were, you know, a lot of us in the world, we were on autopilot. And what happened was it stopped us from being present because we came to expect certain things, right? Like you knew if you went to the grocery store, if you went to the park, if you went to your friend's house, you knew what was going to happen. We all experienced a big pattern interrupt, and it forced people to be present, which people were not comfortable with. And it's something I'm always preaching to people. Where are you at? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you hearing? Because we need to be in the here and now and not necessarily in this narrative we create or this reality that may or may not be there. Be present.
Mm-hmm. Because if you are not present, if you're not in the present moment, it's difficult to shift and difficult to grow and difficult to go to the place where you want to be. If you are in denial state or if you are dreaming, you will not be able to reach your potential. Is it right?
Yeah, it's, you know, a lot of people, it's not even dreaming. Like I encourage people to dream. A lot of times it's a nightmare for people, you know, because they're thinking if this part doesn't go well in my business. And, you know, when you got your own business, you're an entrepreneur, it's up to, you know, you to do the thinking. You want to make sure that you're always in a place where you can kind of predict. But when you start assuming bad things are going to happen, you start assuming what could go wrong. That's when that dream can start becoming a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. which of your clients this year, the entrepreneurs that you deal with, that you help him to be present in the first moment before he was not in the present moment, and how did you bring him into the present moment, and how he accepted or she accepted, and how the growth happens or the change happens?
It's, when I'm thinking of someone I brought on into the Momentum program, this was about April, photographer. And of course, who's going to take pictures, right? And she was in a very niche industry. And what was happening, what was going on with her was, the marketing team that she brought in wasn't living up to the expectations. And, they ultimately had to be let go once kind of got into the here and now. But the way that I got her into the here and now is it's what we're doing right now. It's talking about, what do you see? I know we got some changes, and I know we wish wanted to talk about what happened in 2019, 2018, but I just let her know, where are you seeing your focus going? Like, what are you noticing? Because the first step, with a lot of it is awareness, is getting people aware of what they are. And that's, the big word for, being present. Now, the next step for me, for the way What You're Happy does things is, okay, now we're present with where we are. We need to look at some of our, oops is what I call it. And it's looking at options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions. Now, the beauty of it is the way that that What You're Happy runs is when people are with you, they're in a safe space, right? And they feel like, okay, and they're practicing being present. Now it's like, oh, crap, I'm present. And so now we got like, all right, what options are you seeing? What opportunities is going on? What possibilities, and what are some possible solutions? And so what we did was we created a pre-launch, because she's thinking of, I need immediate. Here's the thing. If she could have walked out of the house and start taking pictures tomorrow, who's going to come, right? We're in the middle of like a pandemic. So the thing for me was get people excited about the future, because that's what we're all looking for anyway, right? We lost kind of a lot of hope. We didn't know what was going on. We lost uncertainty. We lost certainty, and it created uncertainty. Give them certainty. So we did a launch, and then we crafted a program that actually let a lot more touch points, just cool things like, hey, let's check in, let's talk with this, and you get on potential clients. And that was a big success for her.
Mm-hmm. Great.
But the reaction, I believe I'm answering the questions, is when you practice being more present, initially, for some styles, it can be a lot to take on. And so for her, it was, taking it in slowly. You don't have to take in the whole room. You can just take in a wall at a time. And it's the same thing we did with our personal life as well as our professional life.
Mm-hmm. Great. One thing that you mentioned that I liked about you very much, you said, my conviction of understanding that life is always a work in progress that needs to be reviewed constantly. Mm-hmm. I am to shift focus from past and negative thoughts to the future. This is very powerful, and this is very important for people, for business entrepreneurs, for employees, for managers to have. So what's your approach in getting people into this state?
It's letting people see the benefits of checking into your reality. We're all kind of given this picture of life, right? When we're a kid, and it's going to look like this, and it's going to look like that. And sometimes when we live, and it's not a bad thing to do, I want to make sure I say this, we want it to look one way, and it might look exactly like it, but it's not going to stay that way if you're not taking it daily strategic executions with things. You got to make sure that you're putting your pulse on things, checking on the pulse. You want to make sure, and it's not that you're trying to, control every aspect of your life, but you're just saying some things like as simple but as powerful as this is, how am I feeling today? Oftentimes we just kind of run and put out fires. You never consider like, how's my energy? Am I tired? Looking at, for employees, looking at for, people that you were, the person that you work with, ask them. And that's what was funny, because before, when I was telling people this last year or 2 years ago, check on your employees, everyone thought I was crazy, but now they see the benefit of that. Someone asking, how are you? And you're like, oh, I'm fine. But then do it again. Like, no, really, how are you? Like those are ways you can check in on people, on your team, on your family. And these things, they create like this daily ritual of care. And it's not that it's all positive and, oh, I love my life, but it's letting people know that you care, because when people know you care, they care even more, right? And when you're caring about yourself, and then people around you are seeing you care about yourself and checking in and doing these things for yourself. Like, I love the fact that you figured out, hey, look, my energy's higher when I walk, right? So now you come up with these great questions, you're engaging, and it just gets you lit up. But that's someone who's checking in on themselves, who's managing life and making sure, like, that's a daily conviction, and I can see it.
Mm-hmm. This is very nice. Now you are giving a broader view about business, that it's not only about KPIs, it's not about the tasks, it's not about the activities. No, it's about the people. It's about checking in with myself, checking in with them, caring for others. And this leads to a payback from them as well.
Yeah. And not to be manipulative, but just remember, like, we have the ability to say we're helping feed families, we're contributing to society. And you want to make sure that all of your team that you bring in with you on this big yacht that you're creating, that you're building towards, that you got good people with you. And who better to be, associated with than almost, family. And family doesn't have to have your last name. They don't have to have your blood. They can just be good people here and love each other. So I'm always looking on just who's your family that you're creating.
Great. So this is a new approach, or a better approach, people approach. This is a people-centered approach to business, which can lead to different results, correct?
Absolutely. People are burnt out on, and I know this, and I can say this with so much certainty over the last 7 years and, several thousand clients. People are burnt out on what are you going to do for me? Or like you mentioned, they just go at KPIs. Well, guess what? This thing called our body doesn't run off it's not designed to do things like that. It's wearing people out. It's taken a lot of happiness from people, and it's getting them to the place where they realize that how I feel matters more than how much I make in many cases. It's because you don't get out of this life alive. And do you want to spend the next 30 years being in a place that you're not happy? Do you want to be in a place where you get treated like crap? Or do you want to be in a place that the boss, supervisor, or coworkers are like, hey, looks like you're having a tough day. Hey, I bought you a piece of chocolate. I held the door for you. Or like, hey, I like that blue sweater. Feelings matter. And the smart, capable leaders, especially in the future, and I'm very hopeful the president, are looking at when people feel better, they do better. It's just like if you, kind of likening, I'm always using kind of physical fitness, when you're not really taking care of yourself and you're not doing the things you need to do, you put on a little bit of weight and you start feeling a little more self-conscious about yourself. You're not going to go the extra mile to do certain things because you don't want people to look at you, but if you are taking care of yourself, you don't mind going out. You want to strut that body off, right? Now, how that relates to business is when you are not being taken care of, you treat like crap, you do just enough not to get fired, right? But when you are treated well, when you recognize that someone cares, you're part of a bigger vision, you want to do everything you can to strut that, body off. You want to let your boss, your supervisor know, like, hey, man, I got this. Or, hey, miss, I want to do that. People want to do more for you. And the people who are the persons who are more focused on being people-centric and recognize if you take care of people, they will do amazing things for you. It's true that the sky is beyond the limit. I mean, you can just go as far as you want.
Mm-hmm. I really like what you mentioned now. You mentioned not only about work, you mentioned not only about achieving bigger vision only, you spoke about having a holistic view of the body, that you will start to take care of yourself, even physically, not only mentally. And this will have a mental effect, and this will have an effect later on the work. So it's like a chain, or things are like interconnected. It's not only you have to look at the output only or the KPIs only. No, you have to even start from the beginning so that you can reach till the end.
You get it. Yeah, exactly. One of the big jokes, one of my clients, she really pointed this out. She said, you really take care of the whole person, don't you? I'm like, yes. Because once making money, honestly, once you get your rhythm, you figure that out. And that's not, I'm not going to say that's not the big focus, but it is the focus. When you get the person thinking clearly, you get the person excited to go home, because there's some persons who aren't excited to go home for various reasons, kids, spouse, whatever, might be driving you up a wall. And I get it. I have a 5-year-old, but once you start managing the person better and the person starts managing themselves better, business increases. All of a sudden, we're sitting together and we're not talking for 15 minutes about what's wrong. We spend 20 minutes about how we're going to plan to execute the new idea that we came up with, or that you came up with. We kind of figured out together so you can execute. Business always grows, but it always starts with the person. You got to take care of the person. I go for the source. It's the source. I don't know every answer, but I do know how to get you to those answers because I take care of the person.
I really like what you said. You said we will not spend 50 minutes talking about weaknesses or problems. We're going to spend only 20 minutes talking about how we can grow, how we can go further, how can we be together in a different journey, in having a different perspective and getting different results.
Bingo. Yeah.
This is very great. And this goes online as well. This very goes online with what you mentioned as well. Again, you said your approach, this is part of your approach. You said to educate people that we are truly all geniuses in our respective fields. And we need to explore what are true talents and utilize them for fulfillment. So this is very powerful as well. So can you please give us, how do you apply that? How do you teach your clients? How can they apply it in their work and understand it in the first place?
Yeah, and this is a world-class question here. It's, to get to our genius, we need to remember, and it's a big principle for me, everything, and I mean everything you needed to be successful in life, you were taught when you were a kid. I don't care what culture, I don't care what ethnicity, you were taught these things, whether you were conscious of it or not. And it's when the beauty of children is they're just wide open. They look in your eye. They take naps. They dream. They play. They like structure, proper nutrition. They're curious. It's all the things that everything that children do is literally a big part of what your happy is. And so why that matters is this: children do things when they're in a particular place. They don't worry if they walk in a room and they're just dancing. They're just having fun, right? And when it comes to getting to your zone of genius, I call it your superpower, is I always demand this. I tell this to audience, I tell this, different interviewers, you need to find out the top 5 things that you are amazing at. Not good, not great, but amazing, that no doubt about it, you are amazing at it. Now, how does this work? Why does this matter? Well, because 99.999% of the time, when you're doing the things that you're amazing at, that just lights you up and feel good about it, all of a sudden, you're not worried about who's looking at you, because beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're in your flow state. You just do it. And when you lean on that first versus doing what other people say or doing a traditional way, all of a sudden life gets easier. I have a sense of humor. It's one of my amazing superpowers. I use it. Like, oh, well, how do you use humor? Who doesn't want to laugh? You can't get the interview. You can't get I can't tell you how many times I've tried to get in contact with people, and people say, oh, you'll never been in contact with them. I'm like, if I can make you laugh, I got you, because all of a sudden they'll just start laughing like, you are so funny. I'm like, I'm not trying to be funny to manipulate. I'm just being me. And the closer you are, when you use your superpowers, it taps into the true self, which is very authentic. Kids aren't trying to manipulate. They're being authentic. And that's what makes you smile. That's what makes you lean into them and want to know more. Like, oh, how old are you? Children, we don't grow up. It's more sophisticated. But when you use that superpower first, people are drawn into you. And then all of a sudden, people want to know more about you. Then they want to do business with you. Then they love what you have to say. And if they don't want to do business with you or anything, they just know that you're a solid person. And when you go through life being solid and authentic, it makes life more real and it makes life more abundant.
Great. I like your approach when you said we need to discover the first 5 things that make us unique and make us in our best. So when your client, let's say, who are an entrepreneur or a corporate owner, so how do they apply this in work?
So it's to start out with this, a very simple equation. It's a couple of things, because oftentimes when I work with clients who are in a corporate environment, they're worn out. It's called low energy in my practice. And that's when the concentration, focus, awareness are gone. You can become a bit critical and judgmental. You start going for problems versus finding solutions. And granted, no one is exempt from this. Anybody with a heartbeat walking around can experience this. So I'm not picking on anybody, just giving some examples. One of the big things I let people know is more work, more fun. This is a very basic equation. More work, more fun. Fun is the first thing that goes whenever we're working on being successful. Who's ever said, when I woke up from a nap and I feel worse? Nobody. Naps are delicious. You take a nap, like a 20-minute nap, I feel great. I got a nap scheduled. So schedule more naps, take them, have more fun. I'm not saying you need to spend the day having fun, but do the things that light you up, that you're happy. And if you're having trouble figuring out what your happy is, here's a clue. Start with this: the positive brain breaks. 3 to 5, 1 to 2 brain breaks a day will make a significant impact. You find your favorite song that makes you, cut the rug a little bit. And when you're in the car, play that song when you're feeling a little lower energy, or put that movie on, or watch that video on YouTube, and that will get you more energy. And so you can execute. The second thing is, it's understanding here. It's when you are worn out, when low energy is there, your chief asset works against you. And let me give you an example. When When energy's low, if you have a very smart analytical brain that is used to kind of pulling things apart, which is great. But what happens when energy gets low, chief asset works against you. Now it's tired. Your body's tired. Your brain is tired. And so it takes so much more effort to do the things that normally take you 15, 20 minutes. Now it takes you an hour. And then what do these smart, capable people do? Oh, no, I got to stay up longer. I got to work harder. I got to do this. So now it takes you 2.5. And now you're ticked off, frustrated, and upset. And it's because your energy's low. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need a break. And the next thing is check in. You've got to check in with yourself. Above all, it's like you need to check in with yourself. We're not checking in with ourselves enough. It's because when you're checking in, you're getting you're having fun, you're doing things to get you the energy, you start working smarter. Maybe the job isn't for you. Maybe there's other opportunities out there. I'm not telling people to quit their jobs, but explore, get curious. Figure out what you can do to maybe decrease your workload. Another one big one is, have you shared with your boss the type of pressure or stress that you're feeling? And there's a way to be strategic about that, but people don't know if you're having a really tough time, and sometimes bosses don't even care, but bring it to their attention. Be smart about that. Be strategic about that. Because when you let people know, and, it's not whining, but it's informing, hey, boss, I just wanted to, this is where I'm at. Is there any way I can get maybe some sort of relief or maybe some assistance temporarily so I can get my legs underneath of me? You say it in different ways, depending on different environments and different industries, but it's to inform people.
Great. So we have to check in with ourselves. We have to be transparent with others. We have to open new conversation. That's not, maybe we did not inherit that in the past. We didn't do that in the past, but it's important to let others into our world and share what we feel with others and invite them to do things differently, which can lead to different results.
Bingo. Now, I want to throw a disclaimer out there. Be careful who you are transparent with. Not everybody wants to know what's bothering you, and not everybody cares to know. And I think the second thing is, don't be a fool. I'm not telling you to let everyone know everything. Just use some common sense here about how much you share or how you share. Words matter, so choose wisely.
Try to link that to a task or a KPI or something, so that you are not only genuine and you are not only talking about yourself, or you are not complaining or something.
Bingo. Maybe it's beneficial for them. That's one of the big things. If you show them how it benefits them, I promise you, people are very receptive to that. Hey, I want to blow this out of the water more than what we did last quarter. However, I'm coming on a roadblock. I feel I can give you 40% more effort if I had blank, blank, blank. Do you think that's possible, or do you want me to continue down the current track? Like, what, 40%? How do you know? Well, look at this. And you start showing people things. They're like, get him or get her some help now. Or they start saying, what can I do? When you invite people to a conversation versus conflict, they work with you in many cases. Not all the time, but in many cases, they're more likely to. At the very least, they've heard you. Plants a seed. Hey, a couple weeks down the line, they might come up with a resource or an option for you that could help you out.
Yeah. When you invite people to a conversation, not to a conflict, things get different and you get different results.
Absolutely.
Great, Vernon. Really, I enjoyed this conversation. And most of the time I was smiling. I really like the way you are talking, your energy, as you mentioned. And I was very happy to spend this moments with you, this minutes with you. And definitely all the best in your approach. And I really like the way you are making it easy. I didn't feel anything is complicated. I felt everything was easy. So thank you for this elaboration.
You're very welcome. I just want to say in closing, and thank you. I appreciate you being here. I love your questions. You got to make it easy. And that's the hard work's not for you. And my job and my passion, my life, my conviction is all about keeping it stupid, simple. So all you can be is successful. That's it. Stop making it complicated. Make it simple. It's that easy.
Great. Simplicity. Yes. Simplicity is helping everyone. Complexity is creating things unnecessary for everyone.
Yes. Very well said.
Great. Thank you, Vernon, for your time. Thank you.